you get so tired sometimes when you think of what you should have done. I mean, if you used the previous version, how difficult that would have been.
You always want to improve and be better at your craft. So in my case, I want to be a better developer, but I also want to be better at understanding the businesses I work with. So I try to learn more about businesses and how they work in marketing and sales and stuff like that. Doing that, I think about this story with two guys that were chopping wood. And the first guy, he
Chopping wood.
Went out, chopping wood, he went out and started chopping 8 in the morning, and his friend, he went into the shed for 3 hours, and then he came out and started chopping wood. And at the end of the day, the guy who went into the shed, he had chopped a lot more wood than the first guy. And this happened a few days, and then the guy who started chopping 8 in the morning went to the other guy and asked, what are you doing in the shed for 3 hours before coming out and chopping a lot more wood than I can? And then he said, I'm sharpening my axe. So the question is...
That's a parable, biblical dimensions, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So how much time do you spend sharpening your axe, and what do you do in regards to IT and business development to sharpen your axe?
Oh, well, point here is that you probably do that all the time, actually. Because, I mean, of course, there are only so many waking hours in a day, and you also do other things than IT. And you also have other focus areas. I mean, you might want to read some books or something like that that is not about IT business. Then again, I think that whatever you can do to widen your horizon is a good thing. Whether you can use it directly or not in your work, we have a word in Danish which is called Almendannelse, Gebiltung in German. The frightening thing is that there isn't a word for that in British, the English language. I wonder why, actually, but there isn't.
It translates to some general knowledge or something like that.
Yes, but it's more. Yes, that's a part of it. Yes, it's a part of it, but it's not all of it. And to some degree, you could say that is a contradiction to what the story you told, because sharpening an axe for cutting wood is a very precise thing you do, and you can get very specialized. And you see some guys that are very specialized in programming specific things, and they are awesomely good at it. The rest of us, we do a lot of different things. So who has the sharper axe? I'm not sure, actually. I don't know. Because you're also right that one part of a successful IT project is as a programmer, your understanding of the environment that you work with, the needs of the customers, and the funny thing is that when you've been at it for a sufficient amount of years, you suddenly get knowledge within a lot of different businesses. It's like changing your job every time you start on a new project, because then you have to learn, okay, what these guys are doing, and what's important here. You need to be open-minded somehow, in order to learn what it is that you need to learn in that process.
Yeah, and I have another aspect of this as well, and that is that upgrading, for instance, in our case, the Dataflex framework to the latest version, that is also a way of sharpening your axe, because the latest version has new tools, new features, and is more productive than the previous, usually.
Actually, that's a very good point you have there. And you see often the situation where people can't be bothered to upgrade because, it's so tedious, and we don't know if it works, and whatever, people can use it excuses for not upgrading. And then longer and longer time goes, and then suddenly you have a huge technical debt, that you have to pay back somehow.
Exactly.
And that's very equivalent to the situation that instead of going into the shed and shop, use some time to maintain your tools, you just go out and chop the wood,
Yeah, it's like I was starting in 2015 or something, where the web framework still were using ASP, and the upgrade to using only JavaScript to render the views, that was a huge time saver in the production of web development for Dataflex solutions.
Oh, there's no comparison.
No, and you still work on a project that partly still uses ASP.
Yeah, and it takes so long time, also because it's unstructured, which is inherent for that way of programming. So every time you have the slightest little problem, then you have to find, okay, where is that going on? Okay, what files are this? And then you track from the ASP file to the Dataflex web object, and and every solution will have an overhead of at least an hour sometime to just finding your way.
Exactly.
Okay, it's a new project, and I didn't start it, so obviously when I've been working on this for some time, it'll be easier for me. But as it is right now,
But as I remember, when I built solutions there as well, especially if you wanted to make some kind of special features or stuff like that, or integrate some external applications, it was more or less a struggle to get everything to work. But now you have these nice APIs and integration manuals, and it makes things so much easier to work with the latest version. So it's night and day for me, at least.
No comparison here.
No.
Which is night and day. Yeah, and there were so many different technologies involved in the old framework. You had to know them all, and now we're back at just if you know Dataflex, then that's often enough.
That's enough
to make some web applications.
Yeah.
So that's true to get the best tools, but that's very literal understanding of your parable from before.
But that is the two realms of sharpening your axe that I can think of mainly, and that's why I posed the question. So what I do is I do try to listen to podcasts and watch videos where people talk about new features in HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and stuff like this, to learn more about these new upcoming features. I just learned something new yesterday, and that's a new HTML tag called template, for instance. And it is really clawing in my fingers to start using it and trying it out. And I know exactly the projects where I'm going to use it. So you discover these new things that can make everything a lot easier for you when you just browse around and try to spend some time watching these instruction videos and stuff like that to learn how to do things faster and more efficient.
Yeah. Also, in that respect, I don't know how many times when I've started on a new Dataflex project, we actually begin with a beta version of Dataflex.
Yeah. The latest version
Instead
in
of
beta
waiting
before.
for the next release, we just start with the beta.
Yeah.
And then hoping that it will be released by the time we're done with the project.
Yeah,
It usually
exactly.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, often because you really want those new features that's in the next release. Yeah.
Yes. And precisely, so you know that those features are going to come.
Yeah.
And you get so tired sometimes when you think of what you should have done. I mean, if you used the previous version, how difficult that would have been,
Yeah.
And you almost say, I can't do that. It's life's too short.
Yeah. I think that's a more common perception that life is too short to do all the old things the way we did it last year.
Yeah.
It takes too long time. We need to do it in better new ways. Yeah. So guys, if you haven't already, make sure to start sharpening your axe to keep up to speed. It's
and
really...
remember to download the latest version of the data fix. If that's
do that. Download the latest. It's in beta now. Alpha. Yeah. Okay. So there is a new version on the way, and people have already started downloading it. So it's a good idea to download that as well to see what's new.
Yes. Very good advice.
Yep.
Okay. Down for now.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Right.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.